Alrighty, I hopefully have a quick tutorial for you guys today just on how to make some of these heat maps for the board game Heat Pedal to the Metal. They're pretty easy to make, pretty fun. They're a little bit smaller than the base game maps, so you'll have to source your own cars for it. The materials that you'll need are going to be these right here. We got a cutting board with a ruler, and then either a rotary cutter or just a X-Acto knife, a pen or a pencil to mark it up, and this is called shoe tape, SHU tape. It just gives it a nice finish around the borders. We got some wet glue and a glue stick. Those are all the materials that you'll need. Pretty cheap. And then you also need either, I've been using just cardboard boxes, like cereal boxes, for the base of the map. You can also use chipboard, which is a lot nicer and it gives it a much nicer finish, but it's a bit more expensive. It's like about $5 or $6 to make the map itself. But to start, you'll need, I use my cutting board because it has that nice 90-degree edge, just to get you really want your centers. The most important thing is to have the middle of your maps all be 90-degree angles. And so I draw a line, I write an I on it for inside line, using just the edge of this map to make sure it's a nice and square edge. You can use a credit card, you can use anything else that will give you that edge. But that's the most important part. Size is less important than straight lines. So draw your lines on your cereal box or your chipboard, put your inside line, and then you're going to want to measure out how much extra to give your map. So in this case, my map is just printed on an A4 sheet of paper and cut to size. And so in this case, I'm doing 27 centimeters by 18 centimeters. And we've got our nice square, and you just cut it out. 18 centimeters by 27 centimeters. And you're going to want 2 of these with the inside being in the top left. And you want 2 of them with the inside being the top right. And that's important to when you go to put them together. You want them all to be facing the same way, right? We've got our inside lines here, top left, and top right, top right. Make sure they all line up nice and square. That's the most important part. Next, we're going to tape them together. So board game boards are taped together in a certain way so that they can fold together. And we're going to take our tape, we're going to apply it to one side. We're going to take both our inside pieces, and now we're going to apply it at that 45-degree angle and press it down. And doing that 45-degree angle is going to allow us to, it's not going to be able to bend back over on itself, but it still will have a nice being able to fold together well. And then we'll take some more tape and we'll fold those boards together, and then we'll tape along that outside edge there. So you can see we've got the inside edge and the outside edge taped. And you can take your knife or whatever, you can take a fingernail and run it along that crease, and it puts it together nice and well. You're going to do that to both boards. So now we've got 2 pieces with our eyes facing each other, right? Then we're going to put those 2 pieces together. Now we've got to do this line here, right? So these 2 were done the exact same way. So they're going to fold with the faces of the boxes pressed together. And then we want the insides of the boxes to press together for the next part. So we fold them out, and now we're putting our tape on the opposite side. And then we're going to do the same thing, 45-degree angle, and we're going to press them together. I like to fold the cardboard back on itself just so that I can make sure it's all lined up, and you really want those center lines, those intersecting lines to all be lined up nice and perpendicular to each other. And then you press it down, and then we'll put some tape on the outside edge just like we did with it. and now you can see that folds together, accordion style or whatever. And then we're going to take some tape and we're going to go along all these edges, right? We're going to put tape along inside edges. I like to start with the inside edge and then go to the outsides. So that's what we're doing here, is we're putting some tape along the inside edge. You can see, if you see any of those like wrinkles there, just take your knife, the back side of your knife, and stamp it down. It'll smooth out pretty well. That's what it looks like once we've got the borders entirely done. Make sure you do those inside edges too, right? And still folds together. It's great. So the next part is we're going to take our maps, and you want to figure out which one looks the best. So in this case, I'm doing the New Zealand on the outside. So the way that it folds together is we've got our gray, the brown on the outside. So this symbol, New Zealand International, is going to be showing, as soon as we open the box, that's the first thing we'll see. So you'll put that on the bottom right in this case. It's just whichever one is able to fold up like that. So choose which map you want on the outside. And next we're going to line them all together, and you'll take just a little extra tape, and you'll line the map up. I like to start with the top left in this case because the top right and bottom right are the ones that are not tied together, right? Not taped together. So we start with the top left and we put some tape, just like if you're doing a phone case or something, screen protector, put some tape that lines it up to keep it in the right spot. And down here at this bottom edge, this image is going to fold over onto itself. So you really have to make sure there's enough space right on that bottom edge. If you don't leave enough space, then it won't fold all the way closed. So that's pretty important. This is what it looks like once we've got all our parts taped on. So you'll tape your parts on, and you'll flip those. It's just cardstock. Flip the cardstock over, and we apply our glue stick onto all the cardboard that's showing. And then we take our glue. I like to keep my glue in a red Solo cup, just upside down, so it's ready to be used. It saves you a lot of time. If you're having to shake it every time you're going to go to use it, then it's a waste of time. So I keep it upside down in a red Solo cup. And you want to apply your glue. You'll find an angle that works for you. In this case, I always grab my glue, and I've got the tacky glue symbol facing forward, and I run it along this way. And what it does is it splits your line into two small lines. And that's really important because the wet glue, it dampens the paper. So in this case, since we're splitting it into two smaller lines, it won't get the paper as wet, and it won't leave as much of a mark. If you don't do this, then you will notice the glue underneath it. But you're going to glue along those borders, right? And then you're going to just fold over that paper over the borders and press down along those edges, press down along the center. Don't use your fingernails or anything, or else you'll mar the surface of the cardstock. But that wet glue will hold the borders down really nice, and the glue stick will keep the center just fine enough, but it won't leave any wetness on the paper. And then we got little gaps here just to make sure that we can actually fold everything over. And I was trying to show you some of the wet glue, but you can't quite see it in the picture. But just make sure you leave a little bit of gaps. They're not really noticeable when you're actually playing the game, but it will help it fold out and fold together nicely. So you can actually see right here there's a little bit of a line from the glue that was left over. But that's what it looks like. You do both sides, so it's a double-sided map, and should just fold together nicely for you. Then we use just some Lego cars to keep track of our cars, since the other cars definitely won't fit. But yeah, we really like how they turn out. You can also see this is a difference in the thickness of using cardstock, or not cardstock, of using the cardboard from the cereal boxes versus the chipboard. The chipboard has a much nicer feel. It feels just like a regular board. But I do like the thinness of the cardboard because you can store a lot more. And as you can see, we've already made 4 maps, all double-sided, and really happy with how they've turned out. And it's a nice and cheap way to make those extra maps. Hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck.